Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Abacus Publishing. Be your own publisher. Turn your book ideas into reality. Hi kids, I'm Storytime Pup, and welcome to the Storytime Pup Show. I'm so glad you came by to play. I love when my friends come by to play, and you're one of my friends. Are you ready to have fun? Let's see what we're going to do today. Magic marker, show us what we're going to do today. Yay! It's storybook time! We love storybook time! Well, hi kids, and thanks for stopping by for today's book. Today's book is A Tale of Teeth, or How Venice Beach, Florida became the shark's tooth capital of the world. And it's written by Linda Dunn. Are you ready? Okay, let's get started with today's book. One day, Wahine, the queen of the Water Fairies, left her castle deep on the ocean floor to visit Tatiana, the queen of the Tooth Fairies, for help with a problem. The Tooth Fairy's job is to collect lost teeth from every human child and land animal. But because the Tooth Fairies were unable to spend much time underwater, the task of collecting sea animals' teeth fell to the Water Fairies. Our Water Fairies constructed big buildings out in the deep sea to hide the teeth from curious humans. Sharks, unlike other fish, lose entire rows of teeth at one time. And the storage building filled up very quickly. All our storage buildings were full. I had no extra fairies to build new ones, and a major storm broke several of the buildings apart, spreading the teeth far and wide on the ocean floor. Queen Tatiana and Queen Wahine met in the Tooth Fairy Castle, hidden far in the big forest. While drinking bluebell tea and eating iced fairy cakes, Queen Wahine told her friend about the problem. Both the queens thought long and hard about it. Finally, Queen Tatiana came up with an idea. What if the teeth were gathered and moved to another place? She called together her fairies and sent scouts off to find a new storage place. Days later, the two queens met again in the forest castle, and this time all the Tooth Fairies and Water Fairies were invited to attend. Queen Tatiana reported, "Although my scouts have searched the entire land, no place has been found to store large numbers of teeth." Two of the youngest fairies shyly approached the queens with a suggestion. One said softly as she shuffled her feet, "We scouted the coastline and discovered something that might help." Her friend said, "We have been watching the humans who walk along the beaches. Everywhere we went, we saw humans walking along the shore, bending down, picking up shells and putting them in pails and bags and carrying them away. We didn't know why they would want to collect them, but after only a few hours, most of the shells were gone. Since humans seem very interested in what comes out of the ocean, we think that they might like to collect teeth too." Both queens were excited. The idea was wonderful, but how could such a large task be carried out? Queen Tatiana said, "If the Water Fairies could round up the shark's teeth, the Tooth Fairies could weave fine, strong nets of fairy threads. The Tooth and Water Fairies could then work together to get the teeth to the beach for humans to find." Queen Wahine sent her Water Fairies to gather the teeth, and soon a gigantic pile stood near each broken storage building. Tatiana's Tooth Fairies showed up with large nets and gave them to the Water Fairies. The water fairies dove deep into the ocean, filled the nets, and brought them to the surface. Under the cover of darkness, the tooth fairies lifted the nets into the air. The first choice of spreading the teeth was the Atlantic coast. The tooth fairies emptied the nets into the shallow water, and the water fairies pushed them towards the shore. Early the next morning, many of the fairies hid among the clouds and watched the beaches. Lots of people walked on the sand, but no one found any teeth. The waves were too strong. As soon as the teeth washed ashore, they were pulled back out to sea. The fairies were so disappointed. The queen sent scouts out again. By the end of the week, all the fairies were back at Queen Tatiana's castle. The shy fairy scouts excitedly jumped up and down and shouted, "We found the perfect place! Along the Gulf of Mexico are miles and miles of soft white sand where the beach slopes gently. The waters are warm and inviting, and the waves just kiss the shore. We think that the gentle motion of the waves on the west coast of Florida will keep the teeth on the sand." That night, the fairies again filled the nets with teeth, then flew to the Gulf Coast and dropped the teeth into the water. Quickly, the water fairies stirred the water, sending the teeth tumbling towards the shore. The next morning, while the fairies watched from the clouds, many people began to stroll along the water's edge. Exciting cries filled the air as one by one shark's teeth were found along the shore. Back at the castle, the two queens rejoiced. As they clinked their teacups together, Queen Tatiana said, "The tooth and water fairies have done a wonderful thing. Now, working together, we have a way to clean the ocean floor of shark's teeth and make humans happy too." And this is the story of how Venice Beach, Florida, became the shark's tooth capital of the world. Tooth fairies and water fairies work together every night to bring shark's teeth to these beaches and into the hands of happy people who love to collect them. The end. So what did you think about today's book? Have you ever walked along the shore and found a shark's tooth or a shell and collected it and took it home? It's so much fun. If you get a chance to go to a beach, make sure you stop and look for those shark teeth and know how they got there through the help of the tooth and water fairies. I hope you enjoyed today's book. I want to say a great big thank you to Linda Dunn for this wonderful book about the water fairies and the tooth fairies.